The last 400 members of the Valori species drift through dead space, hunted by a self-replicating nanite swarm called the Unmaking. They have stopped hoping. Then a single battered human destroyer drops out of faster-than-light travel directly into their path, and its captain refuses to leave them behind. Captain Yuki Tanaka. She is 43 years old. She commands the UNS Iron Patience, a destroyer-class warship that has seen better decades. She is not a hero in the traditional sense. She is tired. She has been fighting a rearguard action across 4 star systems for 11 weeks, covering the evacuation of human colony worlds. She has lost 31 crew members already. She sleeps in 4-hour stretches. She drinks too much coffee. But she will not leave people behind. That is not something she decided. It is something she is. She speaks softly. She does not give speeches. She gives orders in a flat, calm voice, and her crew follows her because they trust that voice more than they trust their own fear. Fleet Speaker Oren Vale. He is the leader of the Valori survivors. He is old by his species' standards, which means he is around 300 years in human terms, though his body appears middle-aged. He carries the weight of every Valori who died during the Unmaking. He stopped believing in rescue 60 days ago. He now spends his time recording the names of the dead into the ship's memory banks so that someone, someday, will know they existed. He is dignified. He is quiet. He has made peace with extinction. He does not want to be saved. He wants to die well. Chief Engineer Ravi Okonkwo. He is the heart of the Iron Patience's engineering crew. He is 29. He talks to the ship's reactors like they are stubborn children. He has a habit of solving problems that should be impossible by combining technologies that every other species considers outdated. He believes that the best solution is usually the simplest one that everyone else overlooked. He is loud, optimistic, and deeply stubborn. When the swarm adapts to every high-tech weapon, he is the one who remembers that an electromagnetic pulse is just a very big magnet and a very big spark. Navigator Sela Voss. She is the Iron Patience's navigator. She is the first person to detect the Valori distress signal. She is 24. She has been on this deployment for 8 months. She misses her daughter, who is 3 years old and lives on Mars. She detected the signal because she was running a manual sweep during her off shift, something no one asked her to do. She did it because the silence of deep space made her uneasy, and she wanted to hear something, anything, that was not static. The Unmaking. This is not a character in the traditional sense. It is a self-replicating nanite swarm, originally created as a mining tool by a species that went extinct 10,000 years ago. It has no mind. It has no malice. It simply consumes, replicates, and consumes again. It is a force of nature. It does not negotiate. It does not stop. It is the darkness from which the human warship emerges, both literally and metaphorically. The swarm fills the void behind the Valori fleet like a black tide. It is patient in the way that erosion is patient. It will get them. It always gets them. Unless something stops it. The story takes place in the Kethera Expanse, a region of space roughly 40 light-years across, located in the outer arm of the galaxy. Once, this region held the Valori homeworld, 3 colony worlds, and a network of orbital stations. Now it is empty. The Unmaking consumed everything. The stars still burn. The planets still turn. But there is no one left to see them. The Valori fleet drifts through this graveyard, 12 ships in a ragged formation, their hulls scarred, their fuel reserves dwindling, their people silent. The Iron Patience arrives from the direction of human space, which lies beyond the Kethera expanse. It drops out of faster-than-light travel with a shudder and a groan of stressed metal. It is not a clean arrival. The ship is damaged. 3 of its 5 fusion reactors are offline. Its portside armor plating is torn open from a previous engagement. Its weapons arrays are at 40% capacity. It looks like something that should be in a scrapyard. It does not look like salvation. The story opens in silence. Not the silence of a quiet room. The silence of a species that has stopped speaking. The Valori fleet drifts. 12 ships. 400 souls. The ships do not talk to each other anymore. The communication channels are open, but no one uses them. There is nothing left to say. They have said goodbye. They have said their prayers. They have recorded their names. Now they wait. Fleet Speaker Oren Vale sits in his command chair aboard the lead ship, the Remembrance. He is recording names. He speaks each one aloud, slowly, with care. Kethera Solen. Vale Orenmin, Tessari Kale. The names fill the ship's memory banks. When he finishes, there will be no more names. He will be the last one recorded. He does not think about that. He thinks about the next name. And the next. Aboard the Remembrance, the crew moves slowly. They do their duties. They check the engines. They monitor the sensors. But they do it the way a person washes dishes after a funeral. The motions are correct. The meaning is gone. A young Valori officer named Pell stands at the sensor station. She watches the long-range scanners. Behind the fleet, the unmaking advances. It is a cloud of nanites so dense that it blocks starlight. On the scanner, it looks like a hole in the universe. A growing, hungry hole. Pell watches it the way a person watches a storm on the horizon. She knows it will reach them. She does not know when. She has stopped calculating. 3 days pass in this silence. The fleet drifts. The unmaking creeps closer. Oren records names. Pell watches the dark. No one sleeps well. No one eats well. The food synthesizers still work, but the meals taste like ash. A Valori child asks her mother why the stars look different. The mother says nothing. She holds the child. She does not have an answer. On the 4th day, navigator Sila Voss, aboard a ship she has never seen before, runs a manual sensor sweep. She is not supposed to. Her shift ended 2 hours ago. But the silence of deep space presses against her eardrums, and she needs to hear something. She tunes the receiver across frequencies. Static. 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 And then, faintly, impossibly, a pattern. Not random noise. A structured signal. A distress call. Old. Degraded. Broadcast on a frequency that no modern system monitors. But it is there. Someone is calling. Sila stares at the signal. She runs it through 3 filters. She checks it against known databases. The signal is Valori. It is a species that, according to the latest intelligence reports, no longer exists. The unmaking took their homeworld 9 months ago. There should be no one left to broadcast. But the signal is real. It is weak, and it is old, and it is desperate, and it is real. Sila picks up the comm she calls the bridge. Captain Tanaka answers on the 2nd ring. Her voice is rough with sleep. Sela tells her what she found. There is a pause. Tanaka asks her to confirm. Sela confirms. Another pause. Tanaka says, in that flat, calm voice, set a course. Sela says the course will take them away from the fleet rendezvous point. Tanaka says she knows. Sela says the Iron Patience is not in any shape for a detour. Tanaka says she knows that too. Then she says, someone is calling, Sela. We answer. The comm clicks off. Sela plots the course. The Iron Patience adjusts its heading. The damaged reactors groan. The ship shudders. But it turns. It turns toward the signal. The Iron Patience drops out of faster-than-light travel 17 hours later. The arrival is ugly. The ship shakes. Sparks shower from a junction box on the bridge. The lights flicker. Chief Engineer Ravi Okonkwo's voice comes over the comm, mildly irritated, informing the captain that Reactor 3 just quit and he would appreciate it if nobody needed it for the next 6 hours. Tanaka tells him to fix it. He says he is fixing it. He is always fixing it. The Valori fleet appears on the view screen. 12 ships. They are dark. Not powered down. Dark in the way that a house is dark when everyone inside has stopped turning on the lights. Tanaka stares at them. Her tactical officer reports no weapons lock, no defensive posture. The Valori are not preparing to fight. They are not preparing to do anything. They are simply there. Waiting. Tanaka opens a channel. She identifies herself. She identifies her ship. She says she received their distress signal. She asks for their status. The response takes 40 seconds. When it comes, it is Oren Vale's voice. It is calm. It is measured. It is the voice of a man who has already written his own eulogy. He thanks the human captain for responding. He tells her the fleet's status, 12 ships, 400 souls, fuel for 6 more days, no weapons that can stop the unmaking. He tells her the swarm will reach them in approximately 30 hours. He tells her there is nothing she can do. He says this without bitterness. He says it the way a doctor tells a patient the diagnosis. It is simply true. Tanaka listens. She does not interrupt. When Oren finishes, she asks him one question. Do you want to live? Oren is quiet for a long time. Then he says, I do not know if we remember how. Tanaka says, that's all right. We'll remind you. She orders the Iron Patience to move alongside the Remembrance. The human destroyer is small compared to the Valori command ship. It looks like a dog sitting next to a horse. It is battered. It is leaking coolant from a cracked line on the starboard side. It is not impressive. But it is there. And it is not leaving. Tanaka sends a boarding party to the Remembrance. 6 humans in environmental suits. They bring food. Real food. Not synthesized rations. Actual canned goods from the Iron Patience's stores. Beans. Rice. Dried fruit. Things that have weight and texture and taste like a kitchen instead of a laboratory. The Valori stare at the cans. They have not eaten real food in 9 months. A Valori woman opens a can of peaches and holds a slice up to the light. She looks at it like it is a jewel. She eats it. She closes her eyes. She does not cry. But her hands shake. Ravi Okonkwo goes to the Remembrance's engine room. He looks at the Valori drives. They are elegant. They are advanced. They are also dead. The power coupling is fused. The Valori engineers explain that they cannot repair it. They do not have the parts. Ravi looks at the coupling. He looks at the Valori engineers. He says, "You don't need parts. You need a wrench and a bad attitude." They do not understand. He asks for a wrench. They do not have a wrench. They have precision calibration tools worth more than the Iron Patience's entire hull. Ravi sighs. He goes back to his ship. He returns with a wrench. A physical, metal, hand-turning wrench. He fixes the coupling in 40 minutes. The Valori engineers watch him work. They do not speak. When the drive hums back to life, one of them whispers a word that translates roughly to impossible. Ravi says, "Yeah. That's what everyone says. You're welcome." 22 hours after the Iron Patience's arrival, the unmaking appears on long-range sensors. Pell sees it first. The dark cloud fills the scanner. It is closer than projected. 20 hours. Maybe 18. The swarm does not hurry. It does not need to. Tanaka calls a meeting. She stands in the Remembrance's briefing room with Oren, her senior officers, and the Valori command staff. She lays out the situation. The Iron Patience has weapons, but they are at 40%. The Valori fleet has no weapons. The unmaking adapts to energy-based attacks. They tried that before. The swarm absorbed the energy and grew. Conventional weapons are useless against nanites that reassemble faster than they can be destroyed. Oren asks what Tanaka intends to do. He asks gently, the way one asks a child what they plan to do about a hurricane. Tanaka looks at him. She says, "I'm going to hit it with something it can't adapt to." Oren asks what that means. Tanaka looks at Ravi. Ravi grins. He pulls up a schematic on his tablet. It is crude. It is ugly. It is an electromagnetic pulse generator built from the Iron Patience's spare reactor coils, a targeting array stripped from a decommissioned torpedo, and approximately 300 meters of copper wiring that Ravi found in a storage bay. Years ago. Nobody uses EMPs anymore. The swarm has no adaptation for them because nobody has thrown one at it in 2 millennia. The engineer is silent. Then he says, "That is the most primitive solution I have ever encountered." Ravi says, "Yep. They build it. Humans and Valori together." The Valori are hesitant at first. They have spent 9 months accepting death. Now these loud, small, fragile creatures are running around their ship with welding torches and copper wire, and it is disorienting. But they help. They have to. The humans need Valori hands for the precision work. The Valori need human stubbornness for the rest. 12 hours. The EMP device is ugly. It looks like a metal tumor welded to the Iron Patience's bow. Ravi pats it affectionately and calls it the ugly duckling. Tanaka tells him to focus. He focuses. The unmaking arrives. It does not announce itself. There is no sound in space. There is no dramatic entrance. The stars simply go out, one by one, as the swarm passes in front of them. The dark grows. It fills the view screen. 400 Valori watch from 12 ships. 80 humans watch from 1. Tanaka gives the order. The Iron Patience moves forward. Alone. 12 Valori ships watch the small, battered human destroyer fly toward the black tide. Oren grips the arms of his chair. Pell whispers something that might be a prayer. The swarm engulfs the Iron Patience. The nanites hit the hull like rain. The ship shakes. Alarms scream. Tanaka holds her course. She tells Ravi to charge the EMP. Ravi says it needs 90 seconds. Tanaka says she will give him 90 seconds. The swarm eats at the hull. Armor plating peels away. The lights go dark, then come back, then go dark again. Tanaka flies by feel. By instinct. By the same stubborn refusal to stop that got her crew through 11 weeks of rearguard combat. 90 seconds. The longest 90 seconds in the history of the Kethera expanse. The Iron Patience groans. Metal screams. A hull breach opens on deck 4. Emergency seals slam shut. 3 crew members are trapped in a flooded compartment. They bang on the door. Someone gets them out. Ravi counts down. 10. 9. 8. The swarm is inside the ship now. Nanites crawl through the ventilation system. They coat the walls in a silver film. Crew members burn them with handheld welders. It is not enough. It is never enough. 3. 2. 1. Ravi hits the switch. The EMP detonates. It is not a clean pulse. It is a dirty, ugly, screaming burst of electromagnetic force that rips outward from the Iron Patience like a fist. The nanites freeze. Every single one of them. The silver film on the walls goes still. The cloud outside the ship shudders. And then, like a wave breaking, the swarm collapses. The nanites lose coherence. They fall. They drift. They are just metal dust now. Inert. Dead. The Iron Patience floats in a cloud of dead nanites. The ship is wrecked. Half the hull is gone. 2 reactors are destroyed. The bridge viewport is cracked. But the crew is alive. Tanaka is alive. She sits in her chair. Her hands are shaking. She looks at the view screen. The stars are back. All of them. Every single one. Oren Vale opens a channel. His voice breaks. He does not say thank you. He says, you came back for us. Tanaka says, we always come back. The Valori fleet gathers around the Iron Patience. They bring repair crews. They bring food. They bring blankets. They bring every small comfort they have. The human crew is exhausted, injured, and running on fumes. The Valori tend to them with a gentleness that surprises the humans. Oren personally wraps a blanket around Ravi's shoulders. Ravi falls asleep sitting up. Oren does not move him. He sits beside the sleeping engineer and watches the stars. The Iron Patience cannot fly. Not yet. Maybe not ever, in its current state. But the Valori have 12 ships and 400 grateful hands. They tow the human destroyer. They patch its hull. They rebuild its reactors using Valori technology and human stubbornness. Ravi supervises. He complains about the Valori power coupling design. The Valori engineers complain about his wrench. They argue. They build. The ship flies again. Ugly. Patched. But flying. Oren asks Tanaka where they go. There is no Valori homeworld. There are no Valori colonies. There is nowhere to go. Tanaka says, you come with us. Oren says, we are 400. We are a burden. Tanaka says, you're not a burden. You're people. She transmits coordinates. A human colony world. Green. Warm. Room for 400 more. Oren looks at the coordinates. He looks at Tanaka. He says, "Why?" Tanaka says, "Because you were the last. And now you're not." The fleet moves. 12 Valori ships and 1 battered human destroyer, held together with copper wire and stubbornness. They fly toward the light. Pell watches the scanner. Behind them, the Kethera expanse is empty. Ahead of them, stars burn. She does not watch the dark anymore. She watches the light. The story ends with Oren recording one final name in the Remembrance's memory banks. Not a name of the dead. His own. And after it, a note. It reads, "We survived. Not because we were strong. Because someone heard us in the dark and answered." The Oren-T are a bioluminescent species whose minds require light to function. When a stellar collapse destroys their nebula home, the last 200 Oren-T are trapped in absolute darkness aboard a drifting generation ship, slowly losing their minds, their language, and their sense of self. On day 97, a human dreadnought finds them. The humans do not ask permission to save them. They simply do. Captain Marcus Webb. He is 51. He commands the UNS Prometheus Unbound, a dreadnought-class warship with a crew of 600. He is not a gentle man. He is blunt, loud, and impatient with bureaucracy. He has a rule that he has never broken in 30 years of service: no one gets left behind. Not his crew. Not civilians. Not aliens. Not enemies, if it can be helped. He does not philosophize about this rule. He simply follows it the way a river follows gravity. It is not a choice. It is a direction. He has a scar across his left eye from a boarding action 20 years ago. He does not talk about it. He does not talk about much. He talks about what needs doing, and then he does it. Speaker of Light Yanara. She is the leader of the Oren-T survivors. Or she was. In the dark, leadership has become meaningless. There is no light to speak in. There is no glow to read emotions from. Yanara is losing her language. Words slip away from her like water through fingers. She remembers that she had a name. She remembers that the name was important. She cannot remember why. She sits in the dark and hums. The humming is the last structured sound she makes. It is a lullaby. She sang it to her children. She cannot remember their faces. She remembers the melody. For now. Dr. Lena Vasquez. She is the Prometheus Unbound's chief medical officer. She is 38. She is calm in the way that deep water is calm. Nothing rattles her. She has treated combat wounds, radiation sickness, and psychological breakdowns. She has never treated a species that is literally forgetting how to be alive. She will treat them anyway. She will learn their biology from scratch if she has to. She will stay awake for 72 hours if that is what it takes. She does not see patients. She sees people. Ensign Tomo Herrera. He is 22. He is the comms officer who first hears the Oren-T signal. It is not a distress call. It is not a structured transmission. It is a hum. A faint, repeating hum on an open frequency. Tomo almost dismisses it as background radiation. But the pattern is too regular. Too deliberate. He listens to it for 6 hours before he reports it. When Captain Webb asks him why he waited, Tomo says, "I wasn't sure it was real, sir." It sounded like someone singing to themselves in the dark. Webb says, "Then someone's singing. Go find them." The darkness. The Oren-T do not fear the dark the way humans fear it. For the Orientee, darkness is not the absence of light. It is the absence of thought. Their neural pathways operate on bioluminescent chemical reactions. They think in light. They feel in light. They speak in shifting patterns of glow across their skin. Without light, those reactions slow. Stop. The mind dims. The self fades. The darkness is not a setting. It is an antagonist. It is patient. It is total. And it is winning. The Orientee generation ship is called the Cradle. It is a vast, organic vessel, grown rather than built, shaped like a curled leaf. It was designed to sustain 10,000 Orientee for a journey of 500 years. It now holds 200. The ship is intact. The life support works. The food synthesizers work. Everything works. Except the light. The Cradle's illumination systems were powered by the nebula's ambient radiation. When the nebula collapsed, the power died. The backup generators lasted 40 days. Then they died too. Now the Cradle drifts in perfect, absolute darkness. The corridors are black. The chambers are black. The Orientee themselves, who once glowed like lanterns, have dimmed to almost nothing. Faint, flickering traces of light pulse under their skin and fade. They are going out. One by one. The Prometheus Unbound is a human dreadnought. It is angular, gray, and ugly. It is built for war. Its corridors are lit with harsh fluorescent panels. Its air smells like recycled oxygen and machine oil. It is the opposite of the Cradle in every way. Where the Cradle is organic, curved, and silent, the Prometheus is mechanical, angular, and loud. The contrast between the two ships is the contrast between the story's two species. One is fading. The other is stubbornly, aggressively, irrevocably alive. The story opens inside the Cradle. There is no light. The reader experiences the darkness through Yunara's fading consciousness. She sits in what was once the central gathering chamber. She cannot see it. She cannot see her own hands. She hums. The melody is simple. 5 notes. Up, down, rest. She hums it because if she stops, she will forget it. And if she forgets it, she will forget the children she sang it to. And if she forgets them, she will forget herself. Around her, the other Orientee sit in the dark. They do not speak. They cannot. Speech requires bioluminescent patterns, and their glow is almost gone. They breathe. They shift. They exist. Barely. Some of them have stopped humming. Those are the ones who are almost gone. Yunara listens for them. She counts the hums. 93. Yesterday it was 95. The day before, 98. The number drops. She does not know what happens when it reaches 0. She does not want to know. She tries to think. Thought is difficult. The neural pathways that once blazed with light now flicker like dying candles. She reaches for a word. Any word? The word for home. It was something with a rising tone, a warm glow at the center of the chest. She reaches for it. It is not there. She reaches for the word for light. It is gone too. She hums louder. The 5 notes. Up, down, rest. She holds on to them. They are the last structure in her mind. The last architecture. When they go, she goes. Outside the Cradle, the Prometheus Unbound cruises on a routine patrol route. Captain Webb is in his ready room, reading a report about supply chain delays. He is irritated. The supply chain delays mean his crew gets powdered eggs instead of real ones for another month. He is writing a strongly worded memo when Ensign Tomo Herrera calls. Tomo tells him about the signal. The hum. The faint, repeating pattern on an open frequency. Webb listens to the recording. It is barely there. A whisper of sound in a sea of static. Webb asks Tomo if it could be natural. Tomo says no. The interval is too precise. 5 beats. A pause. 5 beats. A pause. Something is making that sound on purpose. Webb asks where it is coming from. Tomo gives coordinates. Webb checks the star charts. There is nothing there. No colony. No station. No registered vessel. Webb says, then it's unregistered. Plot a course. His operations officer points out that they are due at the fleet rendezvous in 2 days. Webb says, we'll be late. The operations officer says, the admiral will file a complaint. Webb says, let him. He stands. He walks to the bridge. He says, someone's out there. Singing. In the dark. Go find them. The Prometheus Unbound finds the cradle 18 hours later. It appears on the viewscreen as a dark shape against darker space. No running lights. No beacon. No signal except the hum. Webb orders a full scan. The results come back. The ship is intact. Life support is functional. There are 200 biosigns. They are alive. Barely. Their neural activity is critically low. Dr. Vasquez looks at the readings and goes very quiet. Webb asks her what she sees. She says, they're forgetting, Captain. Their brains are shutting down. Not from injury. From absence. Whatever they need to think, they don't have it. Webb says, then we give it to them. He orders a boarding party. Dr. Vasquez leads it. 12 humans in environmental suits, carrying portable lights, medical kits, and food. They breach the cradle's outer hull. The airlock cycles. The inner door opens. And they step into the dark. Not dim. Not shadowed. Dark. Total, absolute, consuming dark. The humans switch on their suit lights. The beams cut through the blackness and illuminate the cradle's interior. Organic walls. Curved corridors. And figures. Orenti. Sitting. Standing. Lying on the floor. Still. Their skin is dull. Almost gray. Faint traces of bioluminescence flicker beneath the surface like embers in ash. They do not react to the lights. They do not react to the sound of boots on the floor. They do not react at all. Dr. Vasquez approaches the nearest Orenti. She kneels. She shines her light gently across the creature's face. The Orenti's eyes are open but unfocused. Its lips move. No sound. Vasquez touches its wrist. The pulse is slow. Very slow. She checks the others. Same. All of them. Slow pulses. Unfocused eyes. Fading glow. She calls Webb. Her voice is steady, but her hands are not. She says, Captain, they're in cognitive shutdown. Their brains need light to function, and they've been without it for months. If we don't get illumination into this ship within hours, they won't recover. Some of them may already be past recovery. Webb says, how many? Vasquez says, I don't know. Maybe 20. Maybe more. Webb says, then save the rest. Vasquez says, I intend to. The humans set to work. They do not ask permission. The Orientee cannot give it. They cannot consent. They cannot object. They are too far gone. So the humans decide for them. They string portable lights along the corridors. They set up floodlights in the central chamber. They are harsh. They are bright. They are the wrong color temperature. They are not the soft, warm glow of the nebula. But they are light. And light is thought. And thought is life. The first Orientee to respond is Yunara. The floodlight hits her face, and her eyes focus. Not fully. Not clearly. But they focus. She blinks. She looks at the light. She looks at the humans in their bulky suits, moving through her ship, stringing wires, shouting instructions to each other. She does not understand. She cannot form the words to understand. But she sees. And seeing, she thinks. And thinking, she remembers. The 5 notes. Up, down, rest. She hums. Louder this time. The humans hear her. Tomo, who is running a cable along the wall, stops. He listens. He hears the melody. He hums it back. Yunara's glow brightens. Just a fraction. Just a flicker. But it is there. The next 48 hours are brutal. The humans work without stopping. They rig the cradle's illumination systems to the Prometheus Unbound's power supply. It is not clean. It is not elegant. Ravi's equivalent here is a human engineer named Chief Patel, who splices alien conduits with human wiring and swears in 3 languages. The lights come on. Real lights. Warm lights. The cradle glows. But the Orientee do not simply wake up. The damage is deep. 97 days of darkness have scarred their neural pathways. Some of them recover quickly. They blink. They glow. They look around with confusion and relief. Others do not recover. They sit in the light and stare at nothing. Their glow does not return. Their minds are gone. Dr. Vasquez counts them. 23. 23 Orientee who sat in the dark too long and lost themselves. She cannot bring them back. No one can. She records their names. She does not know their names. She assigns designations. She will learn their names later, from the others, if the others remember. Yunara recovers slowly. The light helps. The food helps. The humans bring warm broth, which the Orientee can absorb through their skin. It is not their natural food, but it sustains them. Yunara drinks. She glows brighter. She looks at the humans. She tries to speak. The words come wrong. Broken. She says something that sounds like gratello. Dr. Vasquez does not know what it means. She nods anyway. She says, "You're safe. You're in the light." Yunara does not understand the words. But she understands the tone. She glows. A warm, soft pulse. Vasquez glows back, in a manner of speaking. She smiles. It is not bioluminescence. But it is light. The crisis comes on the 2nd day. The cradle's structural integrity begins to fail. Without the nebula's radiation, the organic hull is degrading. It was designed to be nourished by the nebula's energy. Without it, the ship is dying. Slowly. But dying. The walls crack. Atmosphere leaks from 3 compartments. The humans seal the breaches with emergency foam. It holds. For now. Webb makes a decision. The cradle cannot be saved. Not here. Not like this. He orders the Orenti transferred to the Prometheus Unbound. 200 aliens on a human warship. His officers object. The ship is not designed for this. The life support is calibrated for humans. The lighting is wrong. The air is wrong. Webb says, then we change it. He orders engineering to reconfigure 3 cargo bays into habitat spaces. He orders the lighting adjusted to a warmer spectrum. He orders the air mix modified. His chief engineer says it will take a week. Webb says they have 2 days. The engineer says that is not possible. Webb says, make it possible. The engineer makes it possible. The transfer is slow. The Orenti are weak. Some cannot walk. The humans carry them. A Marine named Corporal Diaz carries an Orenti elder on his back through the airlock. The elder is frail. Its glow is faint. Diaz talks to it the whole way. He does not know if it understands. He talks anyway. He tells it about his dog back on Earth. He tells it about the time he fell out of a tree when he was 9. He tells it nothing important. He just talks. Because silence is the dark. And talking is the light. The Orenti settle into the Prometheus Unbound. It is strange for them. The ship is loud. It vibrates. The corridors are straight and angular, not curved and organic. The light is fluorescent, not bioluminescent. But it is light. They glow. Slowly, over days, their glow strengthens. They begin to speak. Broken, halting words at first. Then sentences. Then conversations. They tell their stories. They tell the humans about the nebula. About the light. About the songs they sang to their children. They tell them about the darkness. About the forgetting. About the hum. Yanara speaks to Webb. They sit in his ready room. She glows softly. He drinks coffee. She tells him that the hum was not a distress signal. It was not meant for anyone. It was the last thing she had. The last structure. The last proof that she existed. She hummed it into the void because if she stopped, she would forget she was real. Webb listens. He does not interrupt. When she finishes, he says, "You kept singing." She says, "I did not know how to stop." He says, "Good." She tilts her head. The glow on her skin shifts, confused. He says, "You kept going. Even when it was dark. Even when you were forgetting. You kept going." That's the most human thing I've ever heard an alien do. She does not understand the word human in the way he means it. But she understands the feeling. She glows warmer. The story's central crisis resolves not with a battle but with a choice. The fleet rendezvous was 3 days ago. The Prometheus Unbound missed it. The Admiral filed a complaint. Then he filed another. Then he sent a priority message demanding Webb's immediate arrival. Webb reads the message. He deletes it. He sends a reply, 200 civilians rescued. Requesting extended deployment for medical recovery and transport to Colony World. Will file full report upon arrival. He signs it. He sends it. He goes back to work. Dr. Vasquez tends to the 23 Orenti who did not recover. They sit in a quiet room on the Prometheus Unbound. The lights are warm. The air is gentle. They breathe. Their hearts beat. But their minds are empty. Vasquez visits them every day. She talks to them. She does not know if they hear her. She talks anyway. She tells them their names, which the other Orenti remembered for them. She tells them they are not forgotten. She tells them they are in the light. She does not know if it helps. She does it anyway. Because the alternative is silence. And silence is the dark. 3 weeks after the rescue, the Orenti are stable. Their glow is strong. Their language is returning. Yanara speaks in full sentences now. She speaks to the crew. She learns their names. She learns their routines. She learns that the humans drink a bitter brown liquid in the morning and call it coffee. She learns that they argue about sports. She learns that they sing. Badly. Loudly. Without bioluminescence. Just sound. She finds this extraordinary. The Prometheus Unbound reaches the colony world. A green planet. Warm. Bright. The Orenti step onto the surface. The sun hits their skin, and they blaze. Every one of them. A chorus of light. They glow so brightly that the human colonists shield their eyes. The Orenti laugh. It is the first time they have laughed in 97 days. The sound is like bells. Like water. Like the nebula before the dark. Yanara stands in the sun. She glows. She turns to Webb. She says, "I forgot my children's names." Webb says, "I'm sorry." She says, "But I remember the song." She hums. 5 notes. Up, down, rest. The other Orenti hear it. They join. 200 voices. The melody fills the air. The humans stop what they are doing. They listen. Tomo hums along. He learned it in the dark, on the cradle, when Yanara's glow was almost gone. He hums it now, in the sunlight, and the Orenti look at him with wonder. A human. Singing their song. In the light. Webb watches. He does not glow. He does not hum. He drinks his coffee. He watches 200 aliens stand in the sun and remember who they are. He thinks about the 23 who will never remember. He thinks about the dark. He thinks about the hum. He finishes his coffee. He walks back to his ship. There is work to do. There is always work to do. The story ends with Yanara alone at sunset. The sun is going down. The light is fading. For a moment, the old fear flickers. The dark. The forgetting. But it passes. Because the stars come out. And the stars are light. And she is not alone. She hums. 5 notes. Up, down, rest. And in the distance, on the Prometheus Unbound, Tomo hears it. He hums back. The melody carries across the field. Across the species. Across the dark. The Tessari were once the greatest empire in the galaxy. A parasitic hive mind called the Chorus consumed them over 3 millennia, reducing their population from billions to 11. The last 11 survive in a cloaked asteroid, broadcasting a beacon their ancestors built, hoping someone remembers they exist. A human frigate hears the beacon. Its 44 crew members decide that 11 strangers are worth dying for. Lieutenant Adiz Okafor. She is 26. She commands the UNS Nobody Left Behind, a frigate-class vessel on routine patrol. She is the youngest captain in the fleet. She got the command because everyone else senior to her was dead, reassigned, or retired. She is not supposed to be here. She is not supposed to be making decisions that affect the fate of a species. But she is. And she will. She is small. She is sharp. She has a habit of going very still when she is thinking, like a bird watching a worm. She does not raise her voice. She does not need to. When she speaks, people listen, because what she says is always exactly what needs to be said. The 11. They are the last Tessari. They do not all have names in this outline, because 3,000 years of hiding have worn their identities thin. But the speaker among them is called Tessara Ven. She is old. She is the oldest living Tessari, which makes her roughly 4,000 years old, though her species ages slowly and she appears as a woman in her 60s. She remembers stories her grandmother told her about the Empire, the great cities, the 1,000 worlds, the songs. She remembers them as stories. They are not real to her. They are myths. She has lived her entire life in an asteroid. She has never seen a sky. She has never felt wind. She has never seen the sun without a viewport between them. She is tired. She is so tired. But she keeps the beacon running. Because her grandmother told her to. Because someone has to remember. The chorus. It is a hive mind. Not evil. Not malicious. Simply hungry. It is a collective consciousness that absorbs other species into itself. It does not kill. It incorporates. The Tessari who were taken by the chorus are not dead. They are part of it now. Their thoughts, their memories, their identities, all dissolved into the collective. The chorus sees this as a gift. Unity. Peace. An end to loneliness. It does not understand why the Tessari resisted. It does not understand why the 11 still hide. It has offered them integration 17 times over 3,000 years. They have refused 17 times. The chorus is patient. It will offer an 18th time. Ensign Yuki Sato. He is the nobody left behind sensor officer. He is 23. He is quiet. He notices things. He is the one who detects the beacon. Not because he is looking for it. Because he notices a pattern in the background radiation that should not be there. A repetition. A rhythm. He flags it. He brings it to Okafor. He says, "Ma'am, something out there is repeating. It's been repeating for a very long time." The Tessari asteroid is called the Last Hearth. It is a chunk of rock roughly 2 kilometers across, hollowed out and fitted with life support, gravity generators, and a single, ancient beacon. The beacon was built 3,000 years ago, when the Tessari Empire still had worlds. It was designed to broadcast a simple message on every known frequency: we are here. We are Tessari. Remember us. The message has been broadcasting for 3,000 years. No one has answered. The 11 have listened to it their entire lives. The sound is part of them. The rhythm of the beacon is the rhythm of their hearts. The Last Hearth is hidden in a dense asteroid belt in an unremarkable system. The cloaking field is old. It flickers. Sometimes, for a fraction of a second, the asteroid is visible. The 11 hold their breath during those moments. The chorus has search fleets. They are always searching. Not aggressively. Patiently. The way a tide searches a shore. The UNS Nobody Left Behind is a frigate. Small. Fast. Lightly armed. It carries 44 crew members and enough fuel for a 6-week patrol. It is not a warship. It is a scout. A listener. It exists to watch, report, and run. It is not designed to fight a hive mind that has consumed an empire. It does not matter. Okafor does not care what the ship is designed for. She cares what it is in front of her. And in front of her, right now, are 11 people who need help. The story opens on the last hearth. Tessara Ven sits in the beacon chamber. It is a small room at the center of the asteroid. The beacon is a pillar of crystal and metal, 3 meters tall, humming with a frequency that has not changed in 3,000 years. Tessara touches it. She feels the vibration in her fingertips. She has touched this pillar every day of her life. Her mother touched it. Her grandmother touched it. Back and back, 3,000 years of hands on the same crystal, keeping the message alive. The message plays. We are here. We are Tessari. Remember us. Tessara mouths the words along with the recording. She has heard them so many times they have lost meaning. They are sound. They are rhythm. They are the heartbeat of the last hearth. Around her, the other 10 Tessari go about their routines. They tend the hydroponic gardens. They maintain the air recyclers. They teach the children. There are 2 children. They were born in the asteroid. They have never seen a sky. They do not know what wind feels like. They play in the corridors and laugh, and their laughter echoes off stone walls, and it is the most beautiful and the saddest sound in the galaxy. Tessara finishes her vigil. She walks to the common room. The 11 gather. They eat. They talk. They do not talk about the outside. They do not talk about the chorus. They talk about the gardens. About the children. About the small, contained world they have built in a rock. They talk because talking is proof of existence. If they stop talking, they stop being real. And if they stop being real, the chorus wins. The beacon pulses. We are here. We are Tessari. Remember us. No one answers. No one ever answers. Tessara does not expect an answer. She expects the silence. She has made peace with the silence. She will die in this asteroid. Her children will die in this asteroid. The beacon will keep broadcasting long after they are gone, a voice calling into an empty room. She has accepted this. Acceptance is the only luxury the 11 can afford. 300 light-years away, Ensign Yuki Sato sits at his sensor station aboard the Nobody Left Behind. The patrol is boring. It is always boring. 6 weeks of watching empty space, logging readings, and trying not to fall asleep. Sato is reviewing background radiation data. It is the most tedious task in the fleet. He does it because Okafor told him to, and Okafor does not give orders lightly. He scrolls through numbers, patterns, noise. And then he stops. A repetition. Faint. Almost lost in the static. But there. A structured signal. Repeating. He runs it through filters. He isolates it. He listens. We are here. We are Tessari. Remember us. He listens again. And again. He counts. The message has been repeating for a very long time. The signal degradation suggests centuries. Maybe millennia. He calls Okafor. Okafor comes to the sensor station. She listens. She goes still. The bird watching the worm. She asks Sato how long the signal has been degrading. He says, based on the decay pattern, at least 2,000 years. Maybe 3. Okafor says nothing for a long time. Then she says, plot a course. Patrol boundary. Okafor says, I know. Sato says, command will flag it. Okafor says, let them. She walks to the bridge. She tells the helmsman to change course. The nobody left behind turns. 44 people on a small ship, turning toward a voice that has been calling for 3,000 years. The nobody left behind arrives at the asteroid belt. The cloaking field hides the last hearth. Sato searches. He finds the flicker. A microsecond of visibility. He locks on. Okafor orders a slow approach. No weapons charged. No shields raised. They come in open. Vulnerable. Trusting. They hail the asteroid. No response. They hail again. No response. They broadcast on the same frequency as the beacon. This is Lieutenant Adiz Okafor of the UNS Nobody Left Behind. We heard your beacon. We are here. You are not alone. Silence. Then, after 3 minutes, a voice. Old. Tired. Careful. Who are you? Okafor says, we're human. A pause. We do not know this word. Okafor says, we're new. We've been spacefaring for about 300 years. Another pause. Longer this time. Then, 300 years. We have been hiding for 3,000. Okafor closes her eyes. She opens them. She says, then let's stop hiding. The docking is delicate. The last hearth's airlock is ancient. The nobody left behind has to match its configuration manually. Sato handles it. He is precise. He is patient. The airlock cycles. The door opens. Okafor steps through. She is alone. Her officers objected. She went alone. They've been hiding for 3,000 years, she said. They don't need 44 strangers in their living room. They need one. The corridor is narrow. Stone walls. Dim lights. The air smells like soil and recycled oxygen. Okafor walks. She walks for 10 minutes. The asteroid is small, but it feels vast in the silence. She reaches the common room. The 11 are there. They stand. They stare at her. She is small. She is young. She is wearing a gray uniform with scuffed boots. She is not what they expected. They expected a fleet. An army. A salvation. They got a 26-year-old woman with dark eyes and steady hands. Tessara steps forward. She looks at Okafor. She says, you came. Okafor says, you called? Tessara says, we have been calling for 3,000 years. Okafor says, I know. I'm sorry it took so long. Tessara's face does something complicated. It is not quite a smile. It is not quite a cry. It is the expression of a person who has been holding their breath for 3 millennia and is not sure they remember how to exhale. Okafor sits. The 11 sit. She asks them to tell her everything. They do. They tell her about the Empire. About the chorus. About the fall. About the flight. About the hiding. About the beacon. About the children who have never seen a sky. Okafor listens. She does not take notes. She does not interrupt. She listens the way a person listens to a eulogy. With respect. With attention. With the understanding that these words matter, that these lives matter, that 3,000 years of silence deserve to be heard. The chorus finds them 6 hours later. It is not a dramatic arrival. A ship appears at the edge of the asteroid belt. Then another. Then a dozen. They are smooth, white, and silent. They do not hail. They do not threaten. They wait. The chorus is patient. It has been patient for 3,000 years. Okafor is still in the common room when the sensors alert. Sato's voice comes over her calm, tight and controlled. Ma'am. We have company. Okafor stands. She tells the 11 to stay where they are. She walks back to the nobody left behind. She steps onto the bridge. The view screen shows the chorus ships. 12 of them. Each one 10 times the size of her frigate. They are not charging weapons. They are not raising shields. They are simply there. Waiting. Watching. A transmission comes. The chorus speaks with 1,000 voices layered into one. It is calm. It is warm. It is terrifying. We are the chorus. We seek the Tessari. They are part of us. They belong to us. We wish to welcome them home. Okafor says, they don't want to go with you. The chorus says, they are afraid. Fear is natural. Integration removes fear. Integration removes loneliness. Integration removes death. We offer them peace. Okafor says, they said no. The chorus pauses. They have said no before. They will say yes eventually. They are tired. They have been tired for 3,000 years. We can end their tiredness. Okafor goes still. The bird? The worm. She thinks. 44 people. 1 frigate. Against 12 chorus vessels and a hive mind that consumed an empire. The math is not good. The math is not even close. She looks at her crew. They look back. They are scared. They are young. They joined the fleet to explore, to serve, maybe to fight pirates. They did not sign up to die for 11 strangers they met 6 hours ago. Okafor does not order them. She asks. I'm going to say no. I'm going to tell them the Tessari aren't going anywhere. That means they might shoot at us. Probably will. I won't order you to stay. If anyone wants to leave, leave now. No judgment. No one moves. No one speaks. Then Sato says, Ma'am, the ship's called Nobody Left Behind. Seems like a promise we should keep. Okafor nods. She turns to the view screen. She opens the channel. She says, this is Lieutenant Adiz Okafor, commanding the UNS Nobody Left Behind. The Tessari are under my protection. They do not wish to join the chorus. I am asking you, clearly and respectfully, to leave. The chorus says, you are one ship. You are 44 individuals. You cannot protect them. Okafor says, you're right. I can't. But I can stand here. And I can make you go through me first. The chorus is silent. Then it says, this is not rational. They are 11. You are 44. The mathematics do not support your position. Okafor says, I didn't cross 300 light years for mathematics. I crossed them because somebody called for help. The chorus attacks. Not with weapons. With pressure. It sends a psychic pulse, a wave of collective will aimed at the last hearth. The 11 scream. They clutch their heads. The children cry. Tessara falls to her knees. The chorus whispers to them. Come. Join. Rest. You are so tired. You have been tired for so long. Let go. Let us carry you. Okafor hears the screams over the calm. She does not hesitate. She orders the Nobody Left Behind between the chorus ships and the asteroid. The frigate is small. It is a pebble in front of a wall. But it is there. It is in the way. The psychic pulse hits the frigate first. The crew staggers. Sato grips his console. The helmsman's nose bleeds. Okafor feels it. The whisper. The pull. The promise of rest. Of unity. Of an end to loneliness. It is seductive. It is warm. It is the most terrifying thing she has ever felt. She grits her teeth. She says, no. She says it aloud. She says it for her crew. She says it for the 11. She says it for 3,000 years of Tessari who said no and died for it. No. The chorus shifts tactics. It sends a physical strike. Not weapons. Tractor beams. It tries to pull the nobody left behind aside. The frigate shudders. Metal groans. Okafor orders full reverse thrust. The engines scream. The ship holds. Barely. The hull stress warnings flash red. The chief engineer reports that the port engine is overheating. Okafor says, keep it running. He says, it's going to melt. She says, then it melts running. The standoff lasts 4 hours. The chorus pushes. The nobody left behind holds. The crew takes turns at the helm because the psychic pressure is constant and no one can resist it for long. They cycle. They rest. They come back. They hold. Okafor does not cycle. She stays. She grips the arms of her chair. She stares at the viewscreen. She does not blink. At hour 3, Sato says, "Ma'am, I've got something on long-range sensors. Multiple FTL signatures. Approaching fast." Okafor says, "Chorus." Sato says, "No. Human." The relief fleet arrives. 3 cruisers. 2 frigates. A destroyer. They drop out of FTL in a wall of light and steel. The chorus ships pause. The mathematics have changed. 44 was not enough. 444 is. The chorus withdraws. Not in defeat. In reconsideration. It speaks one last time. This is not over. We will return. We always return. Okafor says, "And we'll be here." The chorus ships turn. They glide away. Smooth. White. Silent. Patient. They will come back. Maybe in a year. Maybe in a century. They are patient. But so are humans. The 11 leave the asteroid. They step onto the deck of a human cruiser. They step onto a planet. A real planet. With a sky. Tessara Ven stands on the surface of a green world and looks up. The sky is blue. It is vast. It is open. She has never seen an open sky. She falls to her knees. She weeps. The other 10 weep with her. The 2 children run. They run because the space is open and they can run and no one tells them to be quiet, to be still, to be hidden. They run and they laugh and their laughter carries on the wind, and the wind is real, and it touches their faces, and they do not know what it is, and they do not care, and they run. Okafor watches from a distance. She does not approach. This moment belongs to the 11. She stands with her hands in her pockets. Her boots are scuffed. Her uniform is wrinkled. She is 26 years old, and she just told a hive mind to go to hell, and she is tired. But she watches the sky. She watches the 11 watch the sky. She thinks about the beacon. 3,000 years. We are here. We are Tessari. Remember us. Someone remembered. Someone heard. Someone came. It took 3,000 years, and it took 44 people, and it took a 26-year-old woman who went very still when she was thinking, and went forward when everyone else would have gone back. But someone came. Tessara stands. She wipes her eyes. She walks to Okafor. She says, "What do we do now?" Okafor says, "Whatever you want. You're free." Tessara says, "We have been free for 3,000 years. We were free in a rock. We were free in the dark. Freedom without a sky is just a larger cage." Okafor says, "Then enjoy the sky." Tessara looks up. The sun is setting. The sky turns gold, then pink, then deep blue. The first stars appear. Tessara watches them. She says, "My grandmother told me about stars. I thought she was making them up." Okafor says, "She wasn't." Tessara says, "No. She wasn't." The story ends with the beacon. The last hearth is empty now. The 11 are gone. But the beacon still runs. Okafor orders it left in place. She says, "Let it keep broadcasting. Let it keep saying they're here. Because they are. They're just not in the rock anymore. They're under a sky." The beacon pulses. "We are here. We are Tessari. Remember us." And this time, someone answers. A human monitoring station, 3 systems away, logs the signal. Flags it. Notes, Tessari beacon active. No action required. They were found. The signal continues. It will continue forever. But now it is not a call into the dark. It is a record. A monument. A proof. They were here. They were Tessari. And someone remembered. The Murati are aquatic beings whose ocean world was destroyed by a rogue singularity. 3,000 survivors drift in a pressurized arc ship with failing hull integrity, broadcasting a distress signal on a frequency so outdated that no one monitors it. A human warship picks up the signal because one junior officer thought the static sounded like crying. The humans arrive, but saving the Murati means risking everything. Captain Elias Crane. He is 55. He commands the UNS Resolute, a heavy cruiser with a crew of 320. He is methodical. He is careful. He does not make decisions quickly. He makes them correctly. He has been in the fleet for 33 years. He has never lost a ship. He has never lost a crew member. He intends to keep that record. But he also has a rule, buried under the method and the caution, that he has never violated. If someone is drowning, you reach in. Even if the water is cold. Even if the current is strong. Even if reaching in means you might go under too. You reach in. That is what you do. Ensign Dara Voss. She is 23. She is the junior comms officer who hears the Murati signal. She is not special. She is not a prodigy. She is a young woman who was working late because the silence of the night shift made her anxious, and she wanted to hear a voice, any voice, even if it was just recorded chatter from a supply depot. Instead, she heard the Murati. The signal was degraded, ancient, and barely there. But it had a quality that made her stop. A rhythm. A cadence. She could not explain it to anyone else. She said it sounded like crying. Her supervisor said it was static. She said, "Static doesn't sob." She brought it to Crane. Crane listened. Crane heard it too. Speaker of Currents Malith. She is the leader of the Murati survivors. She is old. Her species measures age in tidal cycles, and she has lived through 900 of them. She is the one who maintains the Warship systems. She is the one who broadcasts the signal. She is the one who tells the children stories about the ocean. The real ocean. The one with waves and currents and light filtering down from above. The children have never seen it. They were born in the ark. They know water only as the recycled fluid that fills their chambers. Malith tells them about waves anyway. She describes the feeling of being lifted by a swell. She describes the sound of water breaking on rock. She does not know if the words mean anything to them. She says them anyway. Because if she stops, the ocean dies. And if the ocean dies, the Murati die. And she will not let them die. Not yet. Not while she has breath. Chief Engineer Tomas Vega. He is the Resolute's chief engineer. He is 40. He is brilliant. He is also claustrophobic, which is unfortunate for a man who works inside a starship. He manages it. He breathes. He counts to 10. He goes back in. He will go into the Murati Warship's flooded corridors, in an atmosphere that burns his lungs, because the Murati need him to, and because Captain Crane asked him to, and because he is the one who knows how to fix a pressure coupling, and no one else does. He will go in. He will come out. He will go back in. 14 times. 14 times he will cycle through those corridors, breathing corrosive air, patching hull breaches, keeping 3,000 Murati alive. And he will not complain. Not once. The Murati Warship is called the Tide Home. It is a vast vessel, shaped like a nautilus shell, designed to hold 50,000 Murati in pressurized aquatic chambers. It now holds 3,000. The chambers are intact, but the hull is failing. The singularity that destroyed their world also damaged the Tide Home. Microfractures run through the outer shell. Pressure is dropping. Slowly. Inexorably. Malith calculates that they have 72 hours before the pressure drops below survivable levels. She does not share this calculation. She tells the children stories about waves instead. The Tide Home broadcasts its distress signal on frequency 7.7 GHz. This frequency was used for maritime distress calls 4 centuries ago. It was decommissioned. No modern system monitors it. The signal goes out into the void, unanswered, for 2 years. Malith does not change the frequency. She does not know how. The system is ancient. It was installed when the Tide Home was built. She can maintain it. She cannot reprogram it. So she broadcasts on the ghost frequency. She broadcasts into the dark. She broadcasts because her grandmother told her that the sea always answers, if you call long enough. The UNS Resolute is a heavy cruiser. It is clean, efficient, and well-maintained. Crane runs a tight ship. Every system is checked. Every protocol is followed. The crew respects him because he is fair. They trust him because he is careful. When he makes a decision, it is the right one. When he gives an order, it is necessary. The crew does not know about the rule. The reaching in rule. They will learn about it soon. The story opens on the Tide Home. Malith swims through the central corridor. The water is cold. It should not be cold. The thermal regulators are failing. She notes it. She adds it to the list. The list is long. Hull fractures. Pressure loss. Thermal failure. Food synthesizer degradation. Air quality decline. The list grows every day. Malith swims past the children's chamber. They press their faces to the glass. They wave. She waves back. She smiles. She does not tell them about the pressure. She does not tell them about the 72 hours. She tells them about waves. The water would lift you, she says. Not push. Lift. Like a hand. A gentle hand. And you would rise, and then the water would let you go, and you would fall back, and the water would catch you. Always catch you. The children watch her. They do not understand. They have never been lifted. They have never been caught. But they like the sound of it. They like the idea of a hand that always catches you. Malith reaches the beacon room. She checks the signal. It is broadcasting. 7.7 gigahertz. The ghost frequency. She touches the transmitter. She whispers, "We are here. We are Morati. The tide is going out. Please." She does not know if anyone hears. She does not expect anyone to hear. But she says it. Every day. Every cycle. Because her grandmother said the sea always answers. And Malith needs to believe her grandmother. Because if the sea does not answer, then they are alone. And alone, in the dark, in the cold, with the pressure dropping and the hull cracking and the children pressing their faces to the glass. Alone is not survivable. Aboard the Resolute, Ensign Dara Voss is working the night shift. The bridge is quiet. The crew speaks in low voices. The stars drift past the viewport. Voss monitors the comm channels. Supply chatter. Navigation beacons. Background radiation. Static. She is tired. She is lonely. She misses the sound of a voice that is not giving a status report. She tunes the receiver wider. She listens to the static. And in the static, she hears it. A rhythm. A cadence. A rise and fall that is not random. Not mechanical. Organic. Emotional. It sounds like crying. Not human crying. Something else. Something older. Something that has been crying for a very long time. She flags it. She runs it through filters. The signal clarifies. Words. Not human words. But structured. Intentional. A voice speaking into the void, asking for help. Voss listens for 6 hours. She does not call her supervisor. She does not want to be told it is static. She listens. She records. She isolates the frequency. 7.7 gigahertz. She checks the database. The frequency is decommissioned. 400 years old. No one uses it. No one monitors it. But someone is broadcasting on it. Someone is crying on a frequency that the rest of the galaxy forgot. At 0400, Voss calls Captain Crane. He answers on the first ring. He is always awake. She tells him what she found. She plays the recording. Crane listens. His face does not change. His hands, resting on the desk, go still. He listens to the whole recording. Twice. Then he says, "It sounds like crying." Voss says, "Yes, sir." He says, "Find them." Voss says, "The signal source is 4 days off our current heading." Crane says, "Then we turn." Voss says, "Sir, the fleet exercise is in 3 days. If we divert," Crane says, "Ensign. Someone is crying. We don't leave people crying in the dark. Plot the course." Voss plots the course. The Resolute turns. The Resolute reaches the tide home in 4 days. The Ark ship appears on the view screen. It is dark. No running lights. No external illumination. The Nautilus shape is visible only because it blocks the stars behind it. Crane orders a full scan. The results are grim. Hull integrity at 63% and dropping. Internal pressure declining. 3,000 biosigns. Aquatic. Alive. Barely. Crane opens a channel. He broadcasts on 7.7 GHz. This is Captain Elias Crane of the UNS Resolute. We received your signal. We are here. Please respond. Silence. Then, after 2 minutes, a voice. Wet. Gurgling. Tired. You heard us. Crane says, we heard you. The voice says, no one hears us. We broadcast on the old frequency. No one monitors the old frequency. Crane says, someone did. A pause. Then, we are the Moratti. We are 3,000. Our hull is failing. Our pressure is dropping. We have a pause. Longer this time. We have less than 48 hours. Crane looks at Dr. Vasquez's equivalent, his medical officer, Dr. Ines Park. Park reviews the biosign data. She says, they're aquatic. Fully aquatic. They breathe dissolved oxygen in pressurized water. If the pressure drops below their threshold, they suffocate. It's not quick. It's slow. Their gills collapse. They drown in their own element. Crane says, how long do we have to fix their hull? Park says, if we can stabilize the pressure, we buy time. But the fractures are throughout the outer shell. This isn't a patch job. This is structural surgery. Crane says, then we do surgery. He sends Vega. Vega suits up. Environmental suit, sealed, with an independent air supply. The Moratti atmosphere is water-based, but the corridors are partially flooded with a pressurized fluid that contains trace chemicals corrosive to human lung tissue. If Vega's suit breaches, he breathes it in. His lungs burn. He knows this. Park briefs him. He nods. He says, how many times will I need to go in? Park says, based on the fracture distribution, at least 12 separate repair points. You'll need to cycle in and out. Vega says, 12 trips. Park says, minimum. Vega says, all right. He picks up his toolkit. He walks to the airlock. He does not look back. He does not need to. He knows what he is doing. He knows why he is doing it. 3,000 people are on the other side of that airlock, and they are drowning, and he is the one with the wrench. Vega goes in. The first corridor is dark. The fluid is cold. His suit lights illuminate the walls. The fractures are visible. Thin lines of white where the hole is cracking. Pressurized fluid seeps through. Vega patches the first fracture with a sealant compound. It holds. He moves to the second. And the third. Each repair takes 20 minutes. Each repair means 20 minutes in corrosive atmosphere. His suit holds. For now. He comes out after the third repair. He breathes. He counts to 10. He goes back in. The fourth repair is in a lower corridor. The fluid is deeper here. He wades through it. His suit creaks. The pressure differential is significant. He patches the fracture. He comes out. He breathes. He counts to 10. He goes back in. Malith watches him through the internal cameras. She sees this small, fragile creature in a bulky suit, wading through her ship, patching her hull with its hands. She does not understand. She asks Crane, over the comm, why he does this. Why risk his people for hers? Crane says, because you called. Malith says, we called on a dead frequency. No one was supposed to hear. Crane says, someone heard. Malith says, why? Crane thinks. He says, because your signal sounded like crying. And we don't ignore crying. That's not complicated. That's just what we do. Malith is quiet for a long time. Then she says, the sea always answers. Crane says, yeah. Sometimes it just takes a while. Vega goes in for the 7th time. His suit is stressed. The seals are degrading. Park warns him. He says, I know. He goes in. The 8th repair is in a chamber where the fluid is waist deep. He works submerged. His suit creaks. A warning light flashes. Microbreach. A trace of the corrosive fluid touches his skin. He hisses. He finishes the repair. He comes out. Park treats the burn. It is small. It will scar. Vega says, how many left? Park says, 4. Vega says, I'll do 4. He goes back in. The 9th repair. The 10th. The 11th. Vega's suit is failing. The seals are compromised. He breathes in trace amounts of the corrosive atmosphere with every trip. His lungs burn. He does not stop. He cannot stop. 4 more fractures. 3 more. 2 more. 1 more. The last fracture is in the deepest part of the tide home. The fluid is over his head. He dives. He patches. He surfaces. His suit alarm screams. He ignores it. He finishes. He swims to the airlock. He cycles through. He collapses on the deck. Park is there. She pulls off his helmet. He coughs. Blood on his lips. Lung damage. He looks at Park. He says, all 12? Park says, all 12. He nods. He closes his eyes. He breathes. It hurts. He breathes anyway. The repairs hold. The pressure stabilizes. The Murati breathe easier. The children press their faces to the glass and watch the humans work. They wave. The humans wave back. A Marine named Corporal Reyes presses her hand to the glass. A Murati child presses a webbed hand to the other side. They look at each other. Different species. Different worlds. Different everything. The child giggles. Reyes smiles. It is a small moment. It is the whole story. But the crisis is not over. The singularity that destroyed the Murati world is still active. It is moving. Slowly. But moving. And its gravitational wake is heading toward the tide home's position. Crane's sensors detect it. A gravitational disturbance. Growing. In 18 hours, tidal forces will tear the tide home apart. The repairs Vega made will not matter. The hull will not hold. Not against gravity. Crane makes a decision. The tide home cannot fly. Its engines are dead. It must be towed. The Resolute will attach tow cables and pull the Ark ship out of the gravitational zone. It is not a simple operation. The tide home is massive. The Resolute is strong, but it was not designed for this. The tow will stress the cruiser's frame. The engines will redline. The crew will feel every shudder. Crane does not hesitate. He orders the tow. The cables attach. The Resolute pulls. The Tidehome groans. The Nautilus shape-shifts. Metal screams. The gravitational wake pulls the other way. The Resolute fights. The engines scream. Crane stands on the bridge. He grips the rail. The ship shakes. A support strut cracks. Alarms sound. Crane does not flinch. He says, "More power." The helmsman says, "The engines are at 110%. Crane says, "Then make it 120. The helmsman looks at him. Crane looks back. The helmsman pushes the throttle. The engines scream louder. The Resolute pulls. The Tidehome moves. Slowly. Painfully. But it moves. The gravitational wake hits. The tow cables strain. One snaps. The Tidehome lurches. 3,000 Murati scream. Crane orders a second cable. The crew rigs it in 4 minutes. 4 minutes that feel like 4 years. The cable holds. The Resolute pulls. The Tidehome moves. The gravitational wake passes. The stars steady. The shaking stops. The Tidehome floats. Intact. Whole. 3,000 Murati breathe. Crane exhales. He looks at his crew. They are bruised. They are exhausted. They are alive. He says, "Good work." It is not a speech. It is not a celebration. It is 2 words spoken in a flat, tired voice, and it is enough. The Resolute tows the Tidehome to a human colony world. A planet with oceans. Real oceans. Deep, saltwater oceans with tides and currents and waves. The Murati have not seen a natural ocean in 2 years. They have not seen a sky in 2 years. They have not felt the pull of a real tide in 2 years. The Tidehome is lowered into the ocean. The seals open. The Murati swim out. 3,000 of them. They swim into the open water. Into the current. Into the deep. Malith is the last to leave the Ark ship. She swims to the surface. She breaks the water. She sees the sky. Blue. Vast. Open. The sun hits her face. She floats. She breathes. She feels the waves lift her. Not push. Lift. Like a hand. A gentle hand. And the water lets her go, and she falls back, and the water catches her. Always catches her. The children swim. They dive. They surface. They splash. They do not know what waves are. They learn. They learn that the water lifts you and drops you and lifts you again. They learn that the current pulls and you let it pull and it carries you somewhere new. They learn that the sea is not a chamber. Not a tank. Not a recycled system in a dying ship. The sea is alive. The sea is vast. The sea answers. Malith swims to the shore. She pulls herself onto the sand. She lies on her back. The sun warms her skin. The waves lap at her legs. She closes her eyes. She thinks of her grandmother. She thinks of the ghost frequency. 7.7 gigahertz. A dead channel. A forgotten band. And on that channel, a voice. Crying. Calling. And someone heard. Someone always hears, if you call long enough. Crane stands on the beach. He watches the Murati swim. He does not go in the water. He is not aquatic. He stands on the sand in his uniform, boots sinking slightly, and he watches. Voss stands beside him. She says, "It sounded like crying, sir." On the recording. Crane says, "I know." She says, "I'm glad I listened." Crane says, "Me too." They stand. They watch. The waves roll in. The waves roll out. The sea answers. The story ends with Maelith, floating on her back, looking at the sky. She hums. A Marathi song. Old. Deep. A song about the tide going out and coming back. About the sea taking and the sea giving. About the hand that lifts and the hand that catches. She hums, and the waves hum with her, and the sun sets, and the stars come out, and 3,000 Marathi float in the dark water under a sky full of light, and they are home. Not the old home. Not the ocean that was. But a home. A new tide. A new shore. And the ghost frequency falls silent at last. Not because no one is calling. Because someone answered. And the calling is done. And the sea, at last, is calm. The Yen are a species that communicates through song. Their entire civilization, their history, their science, their law, is encoded in music. When a weapon of mass silence is deployed against them by an enemy that feeds on sound, the last 50 Yen lose their voices. Without their voices, they lose their minds. They drift in a dead ship, mute and fading. Then a human warship arrives, and its crew does something no other species would think to do. They sing back. Captain Ruth Adeyemi. She is 48. She commands the UNS Him, a destroyer named, ironically, for a song. She is not a singer. She cannot carry a tune. She